Hello and welcome to Autodesk India user community. I am Aruna Gopal. I shall take you through this tutorial of space frames. To start with, let us open a new family of curtain panel pattern based. Go to the level 1 floor plan view. Draw a reference line between the two adaptive points. Now copy one of the adaptive point using the copy command and place it at the mid of the reference line and delete the reference line. Now put two reference lines once again, connecting the mid adaptive points in both the directions. Once this is done, let us see in the 3D view and put a reference point on the two reference lines as shown, and now set the work plane and put a reference circle along the set work plane. Select the radius as 1 inch and select the circle and the 4 reference lines along the periphery. And say create form, solid form. Similarly, now set the work plane to the reference point put and use a reference circle and create a circle of 1 inch radius. Select the circle and the two reference lines and create form. Putting another circle along 1 inch radius along the other reference point by setting the work plane on the reference point. Now select the circle, lines and say create form. Similarly, select the circle, lines and say create form. Now move that adaptive point in the middle and slightly move it up. Now we can see how the other things are associated with it. Now let's set the work plane and put in a dimension between the two planes to set the height of the middle adaptive point, giving it a parameter of height of the type parameter and say OK. Let's flex and see if it works. Changing it to 2 feet, yes it works, or say 3 feet, yes it works. This done, the space frame is ready. I will save the file and put it to the desktop, calling it as pyramid. With options 1 and say save. Let's open a new file where we put in the mass. Before putting the mass, let's put some model lines as a reference to the size of the space frame. So I'm taking a rectangle from the model lines and setting the width and length as 20 feet each, and I'm going to make offsets of 2 feet so that each division is 2 by 2 feet. To do that, select the offset command, give 2 feet as an offset and select the offsets in both the directions. Once this is done, I shall also have one more line between these 2 points to know the midpoint of each panel there. Why I am doing this, we'll see that in the later stage. I'm going to create one more rectangle which is going to start from the midpoint of the first panels in all the 4 directions. This done, now I'm ready to put in the mask by going to masking and site and select the in place family of mask, select rectangle command and put a rectangle between the 4 points and say create form, going to the elevation. This is how my form is. Let's go to the 3D view, select and push this down a bit. Let's go to the 3D once again and select the bottom plane and divide this into 10 divisions. I'm going to divide the surface into 10 divisions and go to my family of pyramid and load this into the project. Once loaded, select the plane and select the pyramid pattern, and here it comes. Go to the edit type properties. I would like to adjust the height as 2 feet and say OK. So the pyramid of 2 feet height, of 2 feet by 2 feet length and width is being set. Next is going back to the level 2 where I'm putting the mass, and coming to the elevation, I shall have a reference plane at 2 feet height from the level, and go back to my plan view. That's level 2, and put in a mass of rectangular shape coming from the midpoint, the second rectangle that I put, and say create form. This will create a form once again, going to the elevation and 3D and tabbing and selecting the bottom plane of the new mass put, and going to the elevation and dropping it to the reference plane. Same thing, the top, and go to the elevation and pull it down to the level. So I have another mass that is connected between the two planes. Now this is to put the extra set of rectangular framework. So to do that, I need to create one more family of rectangular framework. I'm dividing this to 9 parts because when I measure this between the 2 points, it is 18 feet. To have 2 feet by 2 feet, I need to have a 9 divisions between them. So now let's create another new family of curtain panel pattern based, which is just a rectangular pattern. And for this, again, set the work plane to one of the views and create a reference circle as we did before of 1-inch radius, and select the circle and the reference lines and create form. Save this as a rectangular family and load this into the project. Now let's get into the 3D view and select the bottom face, which is divided into 9 parts, and replace that with a rectangular pattern, and there it comes, which is now exactly at the pivot points of the pyramids. If I look into the top view, this is how my pattern looks from the top view. Now going back to 3D view, to switch off the mask which is not required to be seen, I can put off the show mask button, go to the visibility graphics, put on the mask and put off the form so that only the mask that is required is seen. Thank you.